This server is the Fun Realm paid for by one of Freddy's random friends. I had done a ton of work getting villagers and an XP farm, but then we decided to start a war and basically end the server, which is kind of funny. On May 6, 2025, Mason was trying to leave the basement of his house and Freddy was placing blocks on him and annoying him. Casually, they started taunting each other, and this led to Freddy unleashing his army of dogs and hitting Mason to get them all to attack, starting the war. Mason had full diamond armor, but so did Freddy. The resin dick that they are standing next to was Mason's prized possession. It took him forever to get enough resin from the Creakings to make it, and it will come into play later. Anyway, the dogs start attacking Mason and he runs away and makes sure to strip one of the logs on Freddy's house while running. The dogs start owning Mason, but he does kill a few. Mason and Freddy exchange a few hits and I accidentally get in the way. Mason is able to damage a ton of dogs with lava, a very smart play. Mason starts destroying the dogs, but Freddy starts breeding them in the middle of the fight. What a tryhard. Mason takes some armor off for some reason and proceeds to get killed by Freddy, the first Mason kill and certainly not the last. In retaliation, Mason strips every log on Freddy's house, which escalates things a ton. Freddy unleashes his dogs again and then kills Mason again in the exact same way in the exact same spot. Yikes. Freddy puts a condom on the dick for fun, but soon discovers that Mason was burning his house down as we speak. There wasn't really any damage done this time, but then Mason tries to go for the kill while Freddy is trying to put it out, and then gets killed by a wolf. That's 3 Mason deaths so far. At this point, Mason has no armor and gets killed again. This is embarrassing. He lights Freddy's house on fire again, doing slightly more damage, but then dies again. This is when things get serious though, as Freddy threatens to blow up the precious dick. A peaceful negotiation goes wrong and leads to Mason's death. Mason finally does significant damage to Freddy's house with the TNT, and you can already guess what happens next. The dick is destroyed in one quick explosion. But I don't think Mason cares about anything more than destroying Freddy's house at this point, and more damage is done. Freddy lights Mason's house on fire as well, and this is when I felt glad about having a dirt house. The iconic main walkway was completely up in flames. A temporary truce is made, but at what cost? A lot of development happened in the server before May 19th, the second half of the war. Mason got full netherite armor, and Freddy had made a secret base under his house and had a few plans stored for Mason. Then finally on May 19th, the war started again. Mason had better armor this time and should be able to compete. Freddy threatens Mason's favorite pet frog, Bub. Mason doesn't quit fighting, so Freddy breaks the block under Bub's enclosure and reveals one of the traps he set for Mason. I knew everything beforehand and rushed past all the traps to get to Freddy's secret base, which housed Bub's jail cell that Freddy made. Mason finds the base and sees what Freddy has done to Bub and then decides to attack. Freddy pearls away and escapes. Me and Mason go up only to find TNT placed. It blows up, destroying everything. Freddy keeps lighting more though and kills both me and Mason. Freddy knows what worked in the past and unleashes a new army of dogs. The game gets really laggy as the dogs start destroying Mason just like the first time. Mason thinks to go to the Nether to escape. I go in only to get brutally murdered by Freddy. When I get back, there is a standstill, but soon there is lava and TNT everywhere as Freddy's dog army sees insane casualties. Mason has fire resistance and starts owning Freddy, but Freddy somehow doesn't die throughout all of this. Mason hides in the lava, and that's when things go underground as Freddy digs to Mason and uses auto-click to once again kill Mason. Freddy shows me another secret base he had made under Bub's jail and reveals his riches. Then he shows me another secret base for the hell of it. Then Mason invites Freddy to a suspicious place, and both are not wearing armor. And he proceeds to blow himself up while Freddy is unscathed. So far, this really hasn't been a war, it's been a genocide on Mason, but he isn't doing himself any favors. Freddy shows Mason his build to get Bub into a jail cell. In Freddy's secret base, Mason is getting desperate to kill Freddy even once, and makes a sad attempt to kill Freddy with lava. It didn't work. The fighting continues, but this is when I start to get involved. So far, I was just watching and getting killed in the crossfire, but I started to feel bad for Mason since he died like 10 times and Freddy hasn't died yet. But then he trapped us in his water elevator and used auto-clicking again to kill me. Mason died too, and this is when I officially joined Mason's side in the war against Freddy. A battle started in the destroyed remains of Freddy's house, but Freddy again killed Mason. I poured lava on Freddy, but then I died and lost all my stuff in lava. Freddy started bow spamming my house, and I tried to stop him, but it was not surprising that I died in one hit. Freddy hid in the ground, and Mason started blowing stuff up. At this point, the server was basically over. I lost everything, and everything was destroyed. but all we wanted to do was kill Freddy once. Freddy started getting owned, and I tried killing him with nothing and died. The war moved down to Freddy's secret base again, where we were trying anything and everything to kill him, but with almost nothing left, we finally killed Freddy. We celebrated, and I proceeded to steal all of Freddy's stuff. The war was finally over, but Freddy had other ideas. He trapped himself in the jail with Bub and started to kill him, but we managed to kill him and tried saving Bub, and now it was Freddy who couldn't stop dying. But when I came back down to Freddy's base, I found Bub dead, and Freddy proceeded to kill me and get all of his stuff back, possibly allowing the war to continue. But me and Mason came up with a plan to lure Freddy down his trapdoor trap by saying some of his stuff was down there, and when he did jump down, I caught him by surprise and got my stuff back. The war and that server officially ended that day, and as I looked at all the destruction, I thought about how much time I wasted getting villagers and an XP farm in this world when it was just going to get blown up a week later. But the war was fun, and I'm glad I won.